Greetings, dear ones. This is Friday, August 6th, 2021. And August 6th, 2021. And today's talk and transmissions are going to be surrounding overgiving and giving over. And we all do this, particularly healers, but that's not an exclusive area of healers or practitioners or physicians or anyone in the health or medical field. There are many ways in which we each do this in our own life, in our own lives, and it comes at great cost. And what appears to be being generous or loving or caring can oftentimes be a means of receiving or getting. More often than not, however, the return is not what we expect. It's not what we want. It's not what we feel deep down inside should be the response or the reciprocation of that giving. And most of this overgiving, well, I would say all of this overgiving or giving over, by which I mean giving over ourselves, our health, our sovereignty, our freedom, our sense of self, our empowerment. There's so many parts of us, so many aspects of us that we tend to give over to another, to a group, to an institution, to a religious tradition, as in hopes, in yearning or longing. Unconscious though it may be, it is still what leads that, what informs that giving, or overgiving rather. This was very present for me in my world this week, not only with clients, but even personally. And although it's a piece that I have worked with and explored and transformed and transmuted, there are always new angles that your soul gives you the opportunity to explore and potentially transmute. And when I'm talking about transmuting, I'm talking about changing it from one thing entirely into a new, in this case, way of being. This was very evident with a client who has, from a very, very young age, had to take care of his parents, take care of things in the home, take care of business, finances. And again, I'm talking from a very young age, because neither of his parents were either capable or chose to do what is needed to be done in order to maintain the security and safety of the family, the home, for and on behalf of the child. So from a very young age, we actually do perceive, and not so much through our brains And when it's under a certain age, absolutely not through our brains, through our minds, but more so through our bodies, our energy field, the sensations that are in direct conflict with what our natural, innate, instinctive, primal needs, expectations are. For they are not merely needs and wants on a physical basis, such as food or shelter or clothing, or in any of the ways providing for a child. Those aren't the only ways in which a child needs and expects a parent to respond. Now, it always seems as if I'm speaking about childhood issues and that is the end of the matter. If we get a handle on those, if we change them, shift them, transmute them, that will be okay. All of which is true. However, we are here in this form as a vehicle, as a vessel, if you will, a vehicle or a vessel by which we can explore this particular frequency of dimensionality. Because we are in a dimension. This is third dimensional existence, where duality is at a very crude level, and we are attempting through this evolutionary leap to raise that duality level to a wholly different plane. But at the heart of it, and the soul of it, we are souls. We are spiritual differentiations of the one, utilizing this physical human form in this physical dimension to explore not merely this frequency of duality, but to explore aspects of our soul through human nature. And so when I keep referring back to the childhood basis or trauma or wounding, it is because that's the map that we laid out for ourselves in order to continue to be catalyzed, and in conjunction with our guides, teachers, masters, the universe, continuously being offered opportunities to explore those aspects of our life, our own personal experience, and through that, the potential to transform our lives in such a way that it affects those around us and the world, or our communities and the world. Now, the work that I do one-on-one is an opportunity for those who are working on a mastery level of those soul pieces. For when you delve deeply enough and access the very root of that apparent psycho-emotional issue, it is a psycho-emotional issue, but again, that's the avenue, that's the map that you laid out for yourself to delve ever deeper. And in that delving, again, with the opportunity to transmute it, depending on how deeply. When something or an aspect of human nature is transmuted, it means that it is no longer as it was, not only in you individually, but it literally changes down to the very genetics, down to your DNA, which ultimately changes the human species. So, from the perspective of this work, the deeper you go, the wider the effects. Long explanation for why I continually bring the issues back to and through the childhood, because at no other time in our lives is there going to be the depth and intensity of emotional, physical, energetic, mental, and spiritual experience than any other time in our life. For when we are children, when something occurs, when we have an experience, it is felt full out, down to our very cells. And when we are able to access that peace that deeply and invoke, re-experience that intensity and that depth, if only for a small period of time in a session, there is the potential to open it. It literally changes your entire physiology. It deconstructs and reconstructs your entire energy field and transmutes that peace in such a way that it is just no longer part of you. Moreover, it, as I said, changes human nature, maybe one person at a time, but it actually has effects on your family history, or your family heredity, your lineage, as far as culturally, the culture that you're in. It also affects the relationship between men and women. It also affects how humans relate to the earth. So when you go in very, very deeply, the it's kind of like a either a sound spreading out, or if the old analogy of dropping a pebble in a pond and the ripples go out. Well, these go deep and out. So that's why I keep referencing childhood, because those wounds, those traumas were there for a purpose. They're not simply something to get over or get rid of or release or move away from. Those are only the first steps. So when I'm talking about a client that at a very young age, they were very aware, and I'm talking about 3, 4, 5, very aware that their parent was not doing and being what they needed them to be, what they expected them to be. And so as a result, the child must adjust in some way, shape, or form. In this case, the child became the parent, became the doer. Little by little, as he got older, he ended up taking on more and more of the tasks of the house, the finances. For example, a leak, his parents just kind of didn't know what to do, didn't respond, and it was he at 10 years old that had to contact a plumber or a relative who may know a plumber and have them come in and almost oversee the whole thing. So as he got older, this way of being, he adopted it as he grew as a means of not only survival, but a means of hopefully having them, and this is unconscious because his unconscious still wanted the response from them. He wanted them to give back to him. He wanted them to acknowledge him. He wanted them to recognize. He wanted them to be grateful. He wanted them to be appreciative, none of which they were, to their either dying day in his father's case, or to this day when he is still assisting his mother. So this yearning and this longing stays, and we have created as children a means of attempting to get back, not in kind what we're giving, but to get back what we naturally and instinctively expect and want and need. That's just one example. In other cases, I had another client this week who has a tendency to, or had a tendency to give over the spotlight, to give over the shining, to give over the place of attention or recognition to her mother. Her mother is very competitive, and as a young child she learned that very quickly and very young that her mother, and again, this is not cognitive, she learned that her mother was not happy when this child did what is natural and normal and essence, her expressing her essence. So the child learns to shut it down, to take a back seat. So she's giving over her birthright, she's giving over her place, she's giving over her own desire to express what's inside, and for decades has continued to be in that position, not only with her mother but in life, and was very, very miserable, was very, very kind of alone, empty, very frustrated that she hadn't done so many things in her life that she had the opportunity to do but pulled back. So that's what I mean by giving over. We see this on the national stage. So many people giving over their health, certainly in the face of COVID that we're experiencing right now, giving over their beliefs to a leader, to an institution such as a church leaders, having done so in the past, given over their dignity, their sense of themselves in work, and again kind of overgiving, because on the one hand that's what apparently society requires, that our 40-hour work weeks turn into 60 or more, but there's also the freedom to be able to say no and to continue to find or seek a place where you don't have to do that. And there's many articles out there describing just that situation, with people going back to work. They're reassessing, do I really want to give and give and give? And yes, there is the receiving of the salary, but do I want to be in this setting where I give and try to make right or good or help or give to my company, my boss, etc., and not receive back the recognition and acknowledgement and appreciation and valuing that my system really needs. We're also seeing that with people who buy into certain stories or conspiracy theories, or because they think they're going to receive monies or fame or what have you by buying into a particular person's demands, or out of fear even. Absolutely, it happens. So it's occurring on the larger scale. We have people who are standing up in that and saying, no, I won't bow down to that. I won't give over. Simone Biles is one. She is stepping up on her behalf for her health. Whatever else may be around that. We have one of the Olympic athletes defecting, standing up and saying, no, I will not give over my freedom, my passion, my gifts, my talents, my abilities to a leader who only wants to control and squash me. I could go on and on and on citing them. I'm sure if you sat back and looked, you would be able to see how this is very present and very apparent this week in particular. Overall, yes, at this period of time, but it may be in sharper relief this particular week. And that is the magnificence of this design, that as it's being brought forward or provoked or catalyzed in the larger population, it is also an opportunity for us as individuals. That's the interpersonal, that's the divine connection. We can see it not only in our social, cultural, political, financial aspects, but again, there's a way in which, the earth has been giving and giving and giving and giving. That's her way. She is simply in a constant state of giving. And we have also not appreciated, not acknowledged, not recognized, not given back in kind, not given back in the way that maintains a reciprocal, healthy, fulfilling way for both parties. So it's not just an opportunity for each of us to individually change, but as I explained a little while ago, the depth to which you do that transformation or potentially transmutation has an effect on the larger scale, on the national and global stage, in the depth of human nature. And the energetics that have been coming in to assist with that process or to counterbalance that emptiness or exhaustion or frustration or hurt or sadness that comes in when one gives or gives over, overgives or gives over, and not receiving back. And I'm not saying that each time when you give, when it's done purely, that emotional and energetic string is not attached. And when it is transformed and transmuted, you no longer want to do that to yourself. And so you give to yourself before you give to others. And that's not a selfish giving to yourself. It is a responsible taking care of you, meeting what fills you, so that from that place of fullness, then you are giving without attachment. Then you are giving with no strings. Then you are giving because it gives you pleasure. You are giving because there's so much more of you that it's easy and does not detract from your physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, or energetic health. I have said this 20 years ago, before it became kind of the popular statement of putting on your own oxygen mask before you put on another's. And overgiving and giving over is the same as putting someone else's mask on and they're taking off for the exit and you're fumbling with yours and perhaps don't even have enough oxygen to be able to put it on and breathe, or do so when at the last moment out of breath. So please reflect on this. Look at this week, the next few days. What has been occurring in your life where you have felt this overgiving or giving over, or doing for others, for work, for whomever, and then feeling like there's not enough left for you. So the energetics that have come in to counterbalance and to assist us, there's many cosmic energetics, constantly, and more so at this point in time. I'm going to be talking a lot more about and bringing more energetics of the cosmos and galactic on Sunday. This is the new Lionsgate new moon, and it is a huge opportunity, a huge opening. And so I invite you to join me on Sunday at 12 noon, and I'll be doing just mainly a deep drop in. I'll fill you in a little bit on what's going on astrologically, cosmically with the earth, but it will be primarily a transmission of the energetics that will be going through the month of, it's so exciting. The openings, the opportunities, the change, the chaos, the creation energies that are coming in. So please join me on Sunday. Check back again for timing. I do have people who request a little bit earlier, so I might move it up to 11:30, but I will post it. So without any more explanation, the energetics that came in this week was such an intense life force energy, a new form of life force that many of my colleagues and I have been picking up on, but a very amazing very advanced energetic channel and teacher brought in this week through a particular historic figure, a spiritual historic figure, and his teachings, his transmissions, his channeling. So we're going to be sitting deeply in this transmission of life force down to your very cell. I'm going to try to bring up the photo of the cell that I posted with the announcement of today's Ancient Future Wisdom episode. But I invite you more than anything to simply sit, to settle into you, for your humanness is what is allowing the divine to presence itself through you and transmit the frequency, the energetics that are called for at this time. And when you have a tendency to go up and out or through the third eye, it ends up being more of a higher mind experience, which is wonderful. But for me, in my years of doing this, it is more powerful when you are down and inside of you, experiencing your internal world, your inner verse. So I always invite people to say to themselves or out loud, I am asking and I am allowing my body. I am asking and I am allowing my energy field. I am asking and I am allowing my wider self, which is your soul self. I am asking and I am allowing my guides, teachers, masters, all to join me here and now, assisting me in dropping down and within me. When you find those sits bones, you might naturally notice or even just bring your attention to your shoulder blades and just allow them to move just a little bit together and slide downward, which naturally lifts your chest, allowing not only for more breath, but tends to open your heart, open your chakras, at least the frontal aspect of them. And yes, even the lateral or the back aspect of them. For then your spine is more aligned. And once you kind of feel that alignment, let go of any holding of that, or efforting, or working, or doing, for that interferes and impedes the receiving, the being, the experiencing. And it is in the experiencing that you can maintain and revisit conscious way, but in an energetic and physical way. This life force energy. It is a light force energy. Not light versus heavy, but light in that it is a very white, bright, light life force energy, or life force through light. Simply allow. No focus, no push, no intention. Your body, your energy field know exactly what to do in order to take in, drink in, receive, deeply embed in the cells this life force energy. No need to vision or see or think or imagine. But simply receive. This is an energetic that comes from beyond this dimension. Developed in conjunction with the evolutionary process of this planet. Informed by your experience, your choices, your presence. For each person on this planet plays an important role. Each animal, each bird, each flower, each cloud is participating in this exploration, in this experimentation, in this new way of evolving. Allow yourself to sink down even deeper. Where you're beyond human knowing. can feel the rightness of this energetic for you in this moment. Letting go of the thoughts about it, unless they appear as indicators or signposts or information for you. No need to follow my words with your mind, but simply follow the sensations and the experience within. Again, not tracking necessarily, but simply noticing in a sensating way. For the mind easily forgets that the body, and the energy field, and your internal world retain the energetics, retain the cellular information. For this life force energy lights up, enlightens, informs, feeds, balances. The integrity of the cell, each and every one of the millions upon millions of cells within you. Allow the infusion the informing the instilling of this life force is particularly light-filled life force. For when we tend to overgive or give over, there is a reduction of energy and life force. Shrinking or inhibiting the optimum state of ourselves. The more you allow this life force to course through every tissue, every gland, every organ, bones, through and into the cells that make up those aspects of our body. Simply feel, simply allow. When and as you are fulfilled by this life force, each cell at its optimum functioning, vibration with the cosmos. The earth herself in her transformation. You may feel your mid-abdomen or the very center of your body, the essence of you enlivening, lighting up. As well as your innate, which lies about 3 finger widths below your diaphragm. This is your internal compass. The first aspect of you to turn to in any choice or decision making. This life force is enlivening and enlightening and activating that aspect of you, your energy field, in order for you to discern when you might have a tendency to overgive or give over. For it will not feel good or right to you in this spot. Indicating, giving you the opportunity to stop, pause, determine, choose. For this will never steer you towards harm, but only in the direction of your path, what is right for you, what is good for you, what is healthy for you. Allowing yourself to deeply sensate, physically feel that energetic area of your physical body. It is your GPS, your soul's GPS system for you to utilize in this physical environment. it is not something that you only access during meditations or journeying such as this or deep dives, but instead throughout your day, feel into it. Even put your fingers there if you need to make a decision or a choice. And when you feel that area, it will indicate to you whether it feels good to move in that particular direction or take that action. For the mind will more often than not fool you, direct you to what that child's defense system has decided will keep you safe. But it is no longer applicable at this point in time for you as an adult, now with the freedom of choice. So you may feel yourself moving from a less physical experience where the edges of you were perhaps less defined back to a more physical, three-dimensional, third-dimensional vessel. But you need not leave what you have physically, energetically experienced in this but instead to be able to bring it through and in your daily life. When you feel as if you are drained or overextended, overwhelmed, check in with that innate. In what areas have patterned overgiving or giving over dictated your choice? Step back and re-encounter this profound and deep and new light life force. Filling every cell, every aspect of your physical being. It's like having a meal, something to drink for every tiny little cell in you. And please always remember to drink lots of water after a practice such as this. Much more than you may realize has occurred and moves through your system. And so the water flushes out anything that has been brought to the surface and is ready to go by the wayside. And please keep checking back. I will post about the timing for Sunday's New Moon Lion's Gate meditation, probably about half hour, 35 minutes, I expect. So give yourself that gift of the portal opening. And I'll be talking about it more throughout the month, but it does happen on 8/8. And I expect nothing to be the same after this month with the powerful energetics and alignments and cosmic energies and earth force energies that are going to be coursing through in this month of August. So, as usual, it is with the deepest of honor, gratitude, and love for your presence here on the planet. And I bid you adieu. Bye bye.